In Venice, I'm leaning on a Vaporetto dock rail, just watching the canal breathe. Overconfident dad in cargo shorts unfolds this massive paper map like it's 1993, and he's invading Normandy. He squints at the water and goes, "So, which street do they drain to drive cars through?" His kids groan, his wife says nothing, and the gondolier just freezes mid-cigarette. The guy doubles down, tapping the canal. "No, seriously, where are the real roads?" The gondolier finally shrugs and says, "Congratulations, sir, you have discovered water," and rows off like a king. A bartender in Rome tells me this one while polishing glasses, like he's seen everything. He points out the window toward the Roman Forum ruins glowing under sunset. Yeah, real dramatic. Loud Texas guy apparently stared at the columns and asked, "So when did y'all build this replica?" The bartender said, everyone at the counter just went quiet and pretended to study their espresso. Texas guy continued, "The real ancient stuff's in Vegas, right?" Like he'd just solved history. The bartender leans in and goes, "In that moment, Caesar died twice, bro." My hostel roommate in Florence is telling us about this Instagram travel girl she met on the square. Duomo bells are ringing, pigeons doing their chaotic conference, everything very cinematic, very Italian. The girl flicks her hair, aims the phone, and whispers, "Say ciao to my minimalist Paris outfit." My roommate says even the street artist stopped mid-brush stroke, like the universe lagged. Then she adds, "Is Florence a suburb of Paris, or like a brand collab?" Somewhere, an entire bloodline of Florentine painters probably dropped their brushes in perfect slow motion. I'm on a Milan metro platform at rush hour, pressed between briefcases and confused tourists. College bro with a backwards cap blasts country music from a tiny speaker naturally. He shouts, "Why is nobody forming a single file line like at Target, dude?" while spreading his arms wide. People just flow around him like he's a trash bag in a river. He tries directing traffic, yelling, "Left is for standing, right is for walking, that's freedom." Even the train seems to arrive slower, like it doesn't want to be associated with this energy. Outside a Roman cafe in Trastevere, fairy lights are doing their best to save the night. Wellness. Karen clutches a green juice she imported from her bag, because of course she did. She waves the menu at the waiter and asks, "Can you make the pasta gluten-free and pasta-free?" The waiter blinks like his soul just alt-tabbed out of his body. She insists, "Just the sauce, but like emotionally still pasta," and smiles like it's profound. A gust of wind slaps the menu into her face, and even the ivy looks relieved. In a narrow Naples alley that smells like carbs and chaos, I watch a pizza miracle dying. Retired rich couple stands in front of a wood-fired oven like it's a museum exhibit. The guy peers at the margarita and says, "So this is like Italian flatbread from Costco, right?" The pizzaiolo stops mid-spin. You can hear tomatoes questioning their life choices. Then the man adds, "Do you have a low-carb version without the bread, cheese, or sauce?" A passing seagull snatches the untouched slice, and honestly, nature chose the only righteous owner. On an Amalfi Coast viewpoint, the sea is out there doing a full desktop wallpaper performance. Business consultant in a linen shirt is lecturing his girlfriend about under-optimized coastline assets. He points at the cliffs and says, "If they leveled a bit of this useless rock, imagine parking." A scooter driver nearly falls over laughing, then pretends to adjust his helmet. Consultant continues, "They're leaving so much value on the table," or, on the cliff? A rogue wave slaps the stone below and sprays his pristine loafers like the ocean just said no. Inside a quiet Siena side chapel, candles flicker, and the air smells like old wood and whispers. Patriot uncle steps in with sunglasses still on because humility missed his connecting flight. He looks at the frescoes and asks the guide, "So this is like your local community center?" The guide's smile freezes. The The kind you practice for difficult relatives and tax offices? He follows up, can we rent it for a destination wedding / 4th of July barbecue? The guide just replies, some spaces are not for parties, and every statue nods without moving. In Verona, I'm near that famous balcony alley where people stick love notes everywhere. Cruise tourist in a matching visor and shirt combo is filming a vertical video tour naturally. He points up and says, this is where they shot the original Netflix Romeo and Juliet, right? A teenager nearby quietly whispers, dude, Shakespeare. Like he's reporting a bug. Tourist doubles down. So it's all CGI then? Staring at an actual stone building. The alley goes awkwardly silent, like even the chewing gum on the wall needs a moment. Rome. Termini taxi stand at night is one long negotiation with wheels. Backpack bro in a faded band tee hops into a cab, full of confidence and zero research. He says meters for tourists, right? Just charge me like a local discount, my guy. The driver meets my eyes in the mirror, and we share the same internal sigh. Bro adds, I'm bringing American dollars into your economy. That's already a tip. The driver slowly clicks the meter on and says, congratulations, now you are officially a tourist. On a Tuscan vineyard hill at golden hour, everything looks like it's trying to sell olive oil. Florida man variant wearing flip-flops and a tank top with an eagle raises his plastic cup. He asks the sommelier, so which one of these wines is closest to a grape-flavored hard seltzer? The sommelier stares into the distance like he's buffering through 6 generations of farmers. Then the guy says, in the States we do wine better because we make it taste like candy. The sommelier smiles gently and replies, yes, and you also call bread endless. So I understand. In a tiny glass workshop on Murano, the furnace glows like a portal to bad decisions. TikTok travel expert is narrating to her phone, pacing like a motivational speaker at a mall. She declares, imagine if they automated this. You could scale authenticity by 1,000%. The glassmaster pauses mid-blow, eyebrows arching higher than the vases behind him. She adds, if they franchise the vibes, profits would go through the roof, guys. He just sets down the pipe and says, some things break when you scale them, and returns to the flame. Up on a Cinque Terre cliff trail, the path is basically a polite suggestion not to fall. Honeymoon couple stops right at the edge, and he's holding his phone like a tiny, expensive shield. He asks, so if this is the Italian Riviera, where's the border patrol to France? She squints at the horizon like the Eiffel Tower might wave back. He insists, there should at least be a sign that says, now entering another country. The wind gusts hard, and his hat flies off first, like geography slapping him with a pop quiz. On a dusty street in Pompeii, sun blazing, stones older than every mistake you've made. Bargain hunter in a neon visor is bargaining with the guide about the ticket price. She goes, but these buildings are ruins, so technically they're pre-owned. Shouldn't that be cheaper? The guide inhales slowly, as if oxygen might bring patience. She continues, if they've fallen down before, warranty's over, right? And smiles proudly. The guide finally says, Madame, time already gave you a discount of 2,000 years. In a Palermo street market, vendors are yelling, fish are louder, and scooters play live background music. Movie fanatic points at a stall selling cannoli and shouts, this is where they shot that mafia scene. The vendor squints and says, no, this is where I sell pastry at 7 in the morning. Fanatic keeps filming, whispering, you can really feel the danger in the air. Meanwhile, a grandma taps his arm and mutters, the only danger is your blood sugar, boy. He still adds dramatic music to the video, while she sprinkles powdered sugar like a jump scare. On a Lake Como ferry, we're cutting across water smoother than my life choices, which is suspicious. Complainer dad paces near the rail wearing a polo that screams, "I asked for the manager." He grumbles, "Why don't they have assigned seats and free refills? This is poor service." The ticket inspector glances at him, then at the literal Alps in the background. Dad waves an empty soda cup. In America, this would never pass customer satisfaction surveys. The inspector smiles politely and says, "Sir, here the view is the refill," then walks away. Under Turin's old arcades, rain taps the stone while cafe cups clink like tiny bells. Freedom Guy strides up to the counter and says, "I'll have a venti caramel frappuccino, extra freedom." The barista just blinks, staring at an espresso machine that predates his entire personality. Guy leans closer. Big size, to go, with a dome lid and whipped cream. The barista quietly replies, "Here, coffee is a moment, not a bucket," and pulls a tiny espresso. Dude stares at the cup, like it's an attack on his civil rights, and sips anyway. In Bologna, under those long red porticos, smells of ragu and impending food coma float around. Wellness influencer is live streaming herself reading the menu like it's a crime report. She says, "Do you have keto, dairy-free, gluten-free, low glycemic carbonara without eggs, cheese, or pasta?" The waiter's soul appears to step outside his body for a quick smoke. She insists, "I just want the authentic Italian experience, but like cruelty-free to my abs." The waiter finally nods and brings her a single tomato, plated beautifully like a tiny intervention. On a Dolomites hiking trail, the air is thin, crisp, and deeply unimpressed by human confidence. First-time traveler in brand new boots asks the guide, "So what time do they turn on the mountain lights?" The guide laughs, thinking it's a joke, then realizes the man is painfully serious. Traveler adds, "Like in theme parks when they light up the fake rocks." A rock slips under his foot right on cue, sending him into an undignified sit. The guide helps him up and mutters, "Here the mountains do not perform, they just watch." St. Peter's Square at dawn is all soft pink light and quietly judging statues. Minimalist adventurer stands in the middle with a tiny backpack and gigantic ignorance. He whispers to his friend, "So this is where the Italian president gives Sunday sermons, right?" A nun nearby almost drops her rosary, then chooses inner peace instead of correction. He continues, wild that they turned a political office into a content church. She finally steps over and says gently, "Child, some things are above your search history," and walks on. In Matera's stone alleys, everything looks like time gave up and turned to limestone. Overconfident Dad 2.0 tells his kids, this is where they filmed that space movie about Mars. A local guide overhears and raises an eyebrow so high it nearly achieves orbit. The dad continues, "Yeah, see all the caves, total alien vibes. Trust your father." One kid checks his phone and says, "Dad?" It literally says historical town, not space. The guide smiles and adds, "Here, the only aliens are bad ideas visiting for a short time." Inside a glossy Milan fashion district store, the mirrors cost more than my entire backpack. Loud Texas Guy 2.0 waves a designer jacket and shouts, "Can y'all do a Black Friday deal?" The clerk tilts his head like he's parsing an unknown language. Texas Guy adds, "I mean, 2 for 1 if I yell about your brand on Instagram." Shoppers glance over with the exact energy of people watching a minor car crash. The clerk just says, "Here we discount seasons, not dignity," and returns the jacket to its throne. In a Puglia olive grove, cicadas are singing like broken phone vibrations in surround sound. College Bro 2.0 leans against a 1,000-year-old tree like it's a bar stool. He asks the farmer, "So when do you switch these out for fresh ones from the nursery?" The farmer's weathered face does a full 3-act tragedy in one eyebrow lift. Bro continues, "Back home, we replace trees when they stop looking aesthetic for the neighborhood feed." The farmer pats the trunk and says, "This one has seen more history than your entire internet." Rimini Boardwalk at night is neon, cheap techno, and the smell of every possible snack. Business Consultant 2.0 is pacing with his tablet, scanning beach umbrellas like a spreadsheet. He mutters, "If they standardized all these stands, they could franchise this coastline in quarters." His friend licks gelato, completely ignoring the TED Talk from hell. Consultant says, "Italy needs me. They're leaving so much efficiency on the sand." The gelato friend just shrugs and replies, "Bro, maybe not everything was built to scale except your ego."